You were very much on the fence about returning. So what ultimately came through for you of, you know what, I will go back and do this again and become the longest running OG in Housewives history?
Honestly, I was scared for any more changes in my life. At that time, my daughter was moving out, Mauricio was moving out, and I sat there and I thought to myself, wow, this would be one more very big change in my life. And also the relationships I have with production, they do become like family. So that would be another loss for me. So that was what ultimately kept me hanging in there.
Now knowing everything that happened once you did return, how do you feel about the choice?
Well, the beginning I was really skeptical, like this was not the right thing to do. This is not where I should be right now at this point in my life. I didn't feel strong enough to be able to handle reality television, honestly. And that's the first time I really said that to myself. And I really needed the support of the women because those are the people you're spending the most of your time with. And I know that, you know, we are on television, but I really just needed support. And obviously, you're not gonna always get that making the Housewives. So you saw my breaking point in the teaser.
Yeah, I believe for the first time ever, you walk out of filming.
I'm done with this. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I've never done that in all of these years of being on the show. I've never called in sick. I've never walked off. I've never not shown up. So, 14 years, I think that it was time. I felt very fragile, and filming a reality show is difficult. And every time I walked into the group, I just felt like everyone was coming at me. And I just wasn't strong enough, honestly, at that time. So I don't know if I handled myself as well as I could have, but I just wasn't strong enough, honestly.
What did you learn about yourself in walking through this when you felt you weren't strong enough to do it?
That I need to listen to myself. I had to put my mental health first. And if that meant walking off and people talking behind my back or gossiping about me or having to deal with it later, that's okay. I had to think of myself first in that moment, and I needed to remove myself from the situation that day.
So no regrets about doing it?
I regret how I went about it, but you just can't predict how you're going to feel in those moments. And obviously I was at a breaking point, and that it is what it is. Would I have handled it like that today if that happened? No.
But you did what felt authentic in the moment, which is why you've kind of stood the test of time in this world.
Well, it definitely was authentic in the moment. That's just how I felt. What could I do?
We pick up with you just after Mauricio has moved out of the family home.
Mo moved out about a week or two ago. It's really quiet. I realize it's going to be like that a lot. This is not what I expected my life to be. I knew obviously that day was coming. I had a husband and 4 daughters and 6 dogs. My house was always like, loud and, good chaos. When Alexia moved out and then Mo moved out, it was like, all the games that were normally on, the people would come and watch the games, or Alexia and her friends and the music, it just sort of stopped. And, then it was the 2 daughters at home, Sophia and Portia, who were busy all the time, and Portia's driving. So it was just a very big adjustment and felt like a very quick time. So it was difficult. It was sad for me.
Do you feel like you've settled into a new normal now, or does it still feel strange that the house isn't full the way it used to?
I'm definitely settling into this new normal, and I try to, keep it alive in my own ways. I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't know how to turn the TV on. I don't know how to put the music on. The house is really quiet. I need the girls to help me. I don't want them to be bored and not want to be here either.
So will you stay in that house? Are you there for good?
I think I'll be in that house for a while at least, because I have a lot of dogs and not many properties can handle my dogs because they're big dogs. So, and it is a beautiful home. It's a happy home, and I do love it, so.
We know Mauricio filmed for this season.
It's too much all at once.
Of course.
What all are we going to see when it comes to your and Mauricio's relationship as it stands kind of in the last year?
Well, the conversations that I was having with Mauricio on camera were emotional for me because we weren't speaking on the day-to-day. So when we would film, none of these conversations had been had yet. So a lot of these things had, been held in, and, for speaking to him the first time about them with the cameras, you just forget about the cameras, and you just, it was very emotional, and I felt very vulnerable sharing some of these things on camera and to him, let alone with the cameras too. I know one scene we were shooting, I was very emotional, and even the crew was crying.
Last year, kind of the reason fans maybe felt like they weren't getting the full story is Mauricio had a bit of a wall up when it came to filming it. So did he put that wall down and kind of lean in this time around?
Well, last year, we were just not prepared to open up what was going on in our personal life at that moment. And I was more open to sharing than Mo was. So now he's adjusted more to where we're at, and he's more comfortable sharing. And, he showed up, obviously, to support me, too, because he is a part of my life. He's my family.
So how would you describe where your relationship exists right now?
My relationship with Mauricio is we are family, and we care about each other very much. And honestly, if he comes over for dinner, one may not even know anything's going on because we're just family. We're having dinner, we're talking in the kitchen, and we get along, and we support each other and want the best for each other.
Do you have any predictions of where that heads next, what the next steps are for you at this point? Because when we spoke in February, it was kind of like the D word was looming, but not quite there yet.
I'm just not even trying to predict the future right now. I'm taking a day at a time and just grateful that we're able to navigate this situation the way we have. I'm proud of that because, our daughters are watching us, and it was a big adjustment for them. Even though they're not little, it was really a big adjustment, and they struggled because, their parents who they, looked up to, and they thought everything was so great, all of a sudden that rug was ripped out from underneath them. So the fact that we can still show that we love each other and we're a family no matter what has been, it's something I'm proud of.
I think you should be, especially with the world watching it all. That adds only another level of pressure. I do think of last year's finale when you shared kind of, I think, to what you were comfortable with, of saying there was a betrayal that kind of was the turning point.
There were things that happened that made me lose my trust that I wasn't able to recover from.
Will you ever disclose what that was? Will we learn what that is, or is that going to be private?
Was it anything huge? No, but I do think there's certain things that you keep private. I do have daughters, and I have respect for him too. We got married very young. We were 23 when we met, and I don't feel like that every single inch of my life has to be shared. Already pretty much is, so.
Well, and there were some things unfolding in real time as cameras were up this year, including, photos of him kissing someone.
It sucks to see your photos of your ex making out with some child.
As soon as I saw those photos, I thought, oh, great, now it's going to be on the show, and the ladies are going to talk about it. And I have to think right now about how my kids are going to be seeing these photos, and I think some of the women were more angry than I was because he's allowed to do that. It may have been shocking and jarring for me, but he's allowed. I'm allowed to do whatever I want too. But it doesn't mean it's not shocking to see. And I, of course, think if I'm shocked, imagine, my daughters are also going to be shocked. So I had to remind myself, he's allowed to do that, just like I'm allowed to do what I want.
When we spoke last, you said, yes, separation means we can see other people. I didn't ask you if you had seen any other people. So have you dabbled in dating at all?
No, I'm not on any dating apps. Everyone asks if I'm, on a dating app, and I always say I don't, consider myself single. I don't even really go out, so, no, I'm just,
Is that not even, not an appealing thing to you at this moment in your life?
I think that that's just something I probably would keep private.
Understandably so, given the amount of speculation that has swirled you in this time of your life. We do get this really emotional moment in the premiere where you talk about all the speculation and how it did make you maybe confront some feelings about your sexuality you had never explored before. Can you speak to a little bit about why those emotions bubbled up and even why you chose to go there this season?
I chose to go there this season because I knew there was so much gossip and people were so curious. And the truth was, I did have that conversation with my daughters off camera, of course. And I decided to share that with the ladies just because it is important to me. It's my journey, it's my story. And to me, it was important to be honest with my daughters. I like to always lead by example. And they're seeing these stories too. So I said, I sat down with them and I had this conversation with them and I just said, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I am going through changes and, obviously I was raised a certain way and was like a robot, like this is what you're supposed to do and this is how you act, this is how you behave. And I think it got, a couple of years ago, I just was like, you know what? I have my own thoughts and feelings. And if that means getting a tattoo at my age or whatever it may be, I'm going to live by my rules. And I would always want my daughters to be able to come to me and have any difficult conversation they would need to have. And I would want them to know that they're loved and supported. And that's exactly what they did with me.
What is your message to people who feel entitled to know or want to pressure you into saying something about who you are that maybe you aren't or you're not ready to share with the world?
I think that it's important for people to not speculate about people's sexuality until that person has themselves. And I think that people need to give people some grace, and they may be curious, but it has to be when that person is ready, and that's their journey.
All right, let's move off your personal life and talk about some of your friendships. You step into this season in a very rocky spot with Dorit.
Very.
God gave you 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. Can you let me talk?
It's okay, Kyle. It's time for you to f***ing listen.
How would you sum up why you were in that space? Because it is confusing. You did seem like incredibly close friends. And then we get kind of this commentary at the reunion that maybe they were show friends and not fully immersed in each other's lives. So why was there such tension there for you two?
Well, we definitely weren't fully immersed in each other's lives. As far as reality friends, we're very close. You know what I mean? But when we shoot together, we spend a lot of time together. So when we're not shooting, we tend to all kind of pull back and take a little break from each other. But I did come into the season sad, knowing that we were in this place because I do care about her very much and her family. And my goal was to repair that friendship because we were both going through such a difficult time and obviously similar situations. And I wanted to be able to lean on each other, not have this negativity hanging in the air between us.
She comes in hot.
Yes.
And kind of accuses you of being somebody who tries to control her, manipulate her. One, when she said that, what did you think? And two, what's your response to it?
My response to that was usually someone who accuses you of something is something that they're more likely to do. And also, to me, I know she was referring to the text that she read of mine at the reunion, which was a private text that I wrote in one of my darkest moments.
It's like a novel, bitch.
Thank you.
What the Hi, I've been wanting to reach out because I know we're in a weird place. Of course, some of the interview comments hurt my feelings and creative issues. They always do. I don't want to lose someone else in my life over a TV show.
How would you feel if you got this message?
I would feel manipulated.
Okay.
To me, that was what I would call a manipulation. And that couldn't have been farther from the truth on my behalf writing that text. To me, I was being as transparent as I could be. I don't want to lose another friendship over this show. I'm struggling, I'm in a dark place, you're going through a hard time, I don't want to do this with you. I mean, I couldn't have been any more transparent. But when I saw that, I thought, wow, a friend would not do that. In all these years, I've never read a text that someone wrote to me that was private or shared something someone shared with me off camera that they said was private. So that was really that changed things for me a lot.
Sutton, in some interviews she recently did, kind of painted her as the villain. I don't know if she used that word, but that was the headline that came out of what Sutton said. Do you think Dorit is the villain of this season?
I would not call her the villain. I mean, she was definitely more aggressive, and she was, I think, angry, which was surprising because she felt like a very different Dorit. Even trying to have a conversation with her, it was difficult to have a conversation with her and to make any progress. So, but a villain, I don't know. That's a stretch, maybe.
Do you think she wanted to make progress?
I don't think she wanted to make progress. Every time we would make progress, you know, she would start all over again the next time I saw her, which is what I found so exhausting when I was already struggling at home with my own personal issues. So, yes, I did not see a lot of incentive for her to fix things with us.
What more do you want from me? I want you to stop raising your voice to me. No, listen to everybody.
It seems like it's only going to go from bad to worse as we watch the season. So where does this land? Can the two of you repair this friendship?
Well, I can say that we're in a much better place than we were when we started last season. Are we the same as we used to be? No, we're not.
There's also, beyond just Dorit, I think Sutton makes a comment, some other people, about like, we're not going to bow down to Kyle.
I am not going to bow down at the altar of Kyle Richards. We don't need you to make this group exist.
When you hear that kind of talk about you, what does it make you think about these women who are supposed to be your friends?
It really makes me question my friendships with them, absolutely, and how much I can trust them, because that's not what was being said to me. You know, I had Sutton coming in this season saying how sorry she was about last season, that she wasn't a good friend to me, and that she loves me, and I love her, and I believe that, and I was grateful that we had that conversation and we repaired things. And then I watched the trailer for the season, and I'm thinking, wait, what? That's not how you were talking to me at all. So it makes me question, you know, who really is my friend there, and were you being disingenuous when you said that comment, or were you being disingenuous when you were telling me that you love me and you're my friend?
So who maybe surprised you, for better or worse, the most this year?
I would still say Dorit. I don't know what else Sutton said in this season, but when I was with her and what was being said to me and our interactions together, I enjoyed very much this season, as well as Garcelle. I got closer to her, which I was grateful for, and I did feel a lot of support from the women as well at times. Not all of them, and not all the time, but I did feel it.
Kathy back in the mix after a year off. How did you feel about her coming back in, and how is your relationship with her now?
I was grateful to have my sister there. She is, you know, funny, and she knows me so well and loves to try to make me laugh. Even if I'm not in the mood to laugh, she will do something to try to make me laugh. And then she just starts dying laughing because she says that watching me laugh makes her laugh. So I'm definitely grateful for that. And she was very supportive of everything that I was going through, and everything across the board. She's been great.
And we have fresh blood in Boz and Gentili.
Yes.
What did they bring to the group that maybe we haven't seen before?
I mean, both of them brought so much to the show this season, and I was really happy to meet Boz and get to know her. And when she walked in, wow, she really makes an entrance. And she's so smart and outspoken, and I think she's very likable, and she's got a great sense of humor. So I think she's a really good addition to the show. And Jennifer Tilly, I've known for a while, and she's always fun and a breath of fresh air. And she comes in like such a bright light every time she gets dressed and she walks in. You're like, wow, what is she wearing? The outfits, the jewelry. And she's just quirky and fun and funny.
All right, so what is the temperature on coming back for season 15 after you've done season 14?
Oh my gosh. I mean, here I thought I wouldn't, stay past season 5. So once again, I'm going to say I can't predict the future. Each time, like this year and last year, I thought it can't get any harder than this, right? But yet here we are, and it does.
Be careful what you wish for.
Exactly. I tell myself that all the time, trust me.